Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our December 12, 2012 regular board meeting. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Farquhar?
Here.
Gray?
Here.
Horne?
Here.
Franzer? Here. Pop?
Here.
Stockton?
Here.
Koval?
Present. Brings us to open to public, agenda items only. If you have something you'd like to speak about on the agenda, please limit it to 3 minutes. Leave your name and your address for us.
Hello, my name is William Bailey, 6431 West Spruce Court. I'd like to address tonight's administrative agenda item number 5, which talks about approving the quote for the AC equipment for the park building. I've reviewed the proposal presented and concerned that the system proposed will not work correctly in to air condition the building. My concern is slightly technical, but the amount of supply air in the building is not equal to the return air. This could possibly cause the coil to freeze up, which would reduce cooling output and reduce humidity removal in the building. This is only a one-zone system with the thermostat located in the multi-purpose room. The kitchen, which is 25% of the area, has 3 supplies. If the intent is to make this a fully functional kitchen, the board might want to explore making it a separate system. I would request at the minimum that the board and/or administrator bring these concerns up to the contractor. If you want, I will offer the services of our carrier support design department to the village and the contractor at no cost. For those that don't know me, I've been in the HVAC business for 25 years. Although I mainly concentrate on the hot water side, I do know the air side and have access to many knowledgeable people. The worst thing I think would be to install a system that does not meet cooling requirements of the building and the comfort of the village residents using this building. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Okay, we're going to close that portion of the meeting. I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as is. 2 seconds.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Farquhar?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Horne?
Yes.
Franzer? Yes. Pop?
Yes.
Stockton?
Yes.
Motion carries. Anything from the clerk's office?
I have nothing.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Administrator, you have some things to do.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. One thing that isn't on my agenda, and I just would like to bring up, and we will certainly put it on the first meeting in January's agenda, is we will be looking for permission to close the Village Hall the afternoon of January 16th for training. It's far enough out where we can give due and proper notice. We believe that it's not a critical time for bill collection or information going out, and it does fall between board meetings. So this training has to do with our in-house accounting software package. They'll be on site training our staff on that to include utility billing, accounts receivable module, some questions on payrolling, things of that nature. So if you would take that into consideration, it will appear in the next agenda for your permission. That brings me to item number 1. Item F1, Mr. Mayor, is you will find that there is a police department repair bid tab attached to that packet. There were 2 bids received, one from Construction Solutions in the amount of $377,723, and the other from Stronghold Construction in the amount of $414,590. Both bid repairs had to do with the exterior repair, partial HVAC rooftop unit replacement, And as you, the board recalls, we have had some issues with the police department that we're working out of. I have in the audience this evening Mr. Ron Weselitis from the Linden Group, who has assisted us through this procedure. And Ron, maybe you could stand up in case some of the board members have a couple of questions. The action requested tonight is to accept a bid, and you have that recommendation on, included in your packet at that point.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we accept Construction Solutions bid for $377,723.
Second on the floor.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion also, this was brought in front of the Finance Committee meeting the other night, and it's been a reported to all the trustees were here for it, so.
Mr. Mayor, also, Ron, just a question for clarification, if I may. The question came up at Finance Committee meeting regarding the how soon they would proceed. My answer was pretty obvious with weather dependency, but would that be a fairly correct statement that if the weather were to permit, they would be in a position to move ahead?
Yes, if the weather permits to above freezing, it would be a good time to start the work. However, we are entering the cold season, obviously, so there might be a chance that we would have to pursue this later on in the season, let's say beginning of spring or something like that. But we would have to work through that phasing with the contractor.
I have one question for you,
Yes.
sir. The area that's still leaking, so to speak, we all know where it's at, on the north side of the building there. How can we secure that between now and the project getting started, whereas we don't continue to get water in?
Depending on, I know the north side of the building has caused some problems, and there are issues under the coping area. We might have some remediation repairs with maybe one of the local brokers that you may help with go up there and do some small remediation to the area. The area, as I recall, isn't that large, but since we might have some snow on the roof, we might want to have that taken a look at pretty quickly.
Because what we're really trying to do is see if we can find a window of opportunity to start doing some on the interior, and it's not good to do if you see the roof is still leaking.
No, I guess one of the good parts of the project is, or the building is, the way the roof is actually broken up. Maybe that can be phased in the first part of the work before the weather turns on.
Okay, thank you.
I just have a comment to make too about the project, so the public's aware. The police department building is a over $1 million building to replace it, and the cost we're using to spend on the building should bring it up to a point where all the problems that we have, and there's multiple problems, should be covered by this work. This work should repair a lot of things that are wrong. Most of them are drain problems, ages of air conditioning units and various things. And, the building has been having problems for quite a while. So this is a serious item, and I know it's a lot of money, but it's well worth the cost. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I have a question, and that is pertaining to, how did we announce the opportunity to bid on this project?
I would defer that to Ron.
It was a public bid notice.
Okay.
That is, it was entered into Dr. Forson, all the other public reports. And then it was actually funneled through Tech 3 engineering firm. Okay. With all any questions going to me.
So how many people, if I may, then how many people did you actually have respond indicating some interest or inquiries regarding it, or was it only the ones we got listed?
As I understand it, there were actually about 6 interested general contractors going into it, and some of them tailed off as it got closer.
Okay.
I don't know what the reasons were.
All right. I just want to make sure that we're doing a good job. I mean, something aside, I want to make sure that we're giving people opportunity to help us be competitive. Thank you.
Mr. Horne, I know you're ready to go, aren't you?
No, I'm fine.
Oh, I thought you had a question.
No.
Okay, we're gonna do a roll call.
Gray,
Yes.
Horne,
Yes.
Franzer, yes, Pop,
Yes.
Stockton,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda, Mr. Mayor, item F2, has to do with a TIF reimbursement to BC Development. They have submitted a request for a TIF reimbursement as per the development agreement. The reimbursement amount is $76,510.08.
That's the form of the motion.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Horne,
Yes.
Franzer, yes, Pop,
Yes.
Stockton,
Yes.
Farquhar,
Yes.
Gray.
Yes. Motion carries.
Yes, sir. Item number F3 on the agenda has to do with Derby Meadows Homeowners Association request to transfer infrastructure. The village, if the village would remember, we were before the board with, as information to expend an amount not to exceed $77,963.47. Those funds were budgeted this year and originally came from an executed letter of credit. And the village had been holding those funds. Since that time, the work has been completed. And I will say to date, we have spent $63,888.37, some of which was approved this evening. There's a little bit more work to do, but the majority of it is done. The Homeowners Association has submitted a letter, which you will find included in your packet, requesting that the village of Monee take over the infrastructure, which would include the sanitary and storm sewers, the water, curb and gutter, and the actual right-of-way for the roadways. Initially, when they talked about that, I had informed them the village would not entertain any suggestion or any request until such time as the existing infrastructure is brought up to standard. I'm happy to say that we have completed, I'm going to say 99% of that as we sit here this evening. So what we're asking for here is just approval to proceed, if that is the direction in which the board would like to proceed. It will take some time to get those documents in order, and we would anticipate some of the funding, if not all of the funding, for that to take place out of the proceeds from the letter of credit. I'm just happy to.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
So currently, that is considered to be a private land, basically?
It is a private subdivision.
Well, just so I can let the public know, Derby Meadows is that little subdivision that's west of the county salt shed over by the gas station. It was left by a developer, previous rank, and this is no tax money being spent on this. This is money that got recouped, and we're gonna bring it up to standards. We're gonna have to take care of the roads anyway, so we might as well have it, in my opinion, brought into our fall of the rest of the roads. Roll call, please.
Franzer, yes, Pop,
Yes.
Stockton,
Yes.
Farquhar,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Horne.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, item number F4 on your agenda is another TIF reimbursement request from NAI Kiffman. That request amount is in accordance with the redevelopment agreement, and that amount is proposed here at $602,172.18.
That's in the form of a motion.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Pop,
Yes.
Stockton,
Yes.
Farquhar,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Horne,
Yes.
Franzer, yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, sir. Item number F5 under the agenda has to do with the equipment and installation of HVAC equipment for the new park building. On the reverse side, you have a proposal, JTR Heating and Air Conditioning in the amount of $17,894.00. And this item was also included on the Finance Committee's agenda as well.
Vote on the motion.
So moved.
Second. Could somebody please open up that door for us over there? It should not be closed. I appreciate that. Mr. Boswell, will you open that door, please? Thank you, sir. Roll call, please.
Can we have discussion, please?
Sure.
Can someone address the concerns, is there anyone on the board who can address the concerns of Mr. Bailey brought up about this?
I don't think there's anybody here with the skill level of Mr. Bailey. I wouldn't even know how to address some of his issues.
At the finance meeting, it did come up as a discussion point regarding whether we should have 2 zones or not.
I had offered that the proposal for the 1 zone was just based on the information that although there's a kitchen area, we don't anticipate that being a high-level use kitchen. And should there be the need for makeup air, they would make that up directly because of the type of hood that would be installed. However, we don't have that information as we sit here. That part of it is not completed.
So to deal with the question that's posed here, will the system that we are looking at here, will it give us the ability to overcome those issues with simply by the type of hood that we place in the kitchen there?
I'm probably not the one to be answering that question.
Should we table this until such time that we can get a clear response to that?
There's, my only suggestion is the options that sit out is to approve, conditionally approve, to move forward, and that we accept Mr. Bailey's offer to meet with the contractor. You could certainly table it, whatever the board wishes to do at this point.
My question would be with JTR, if they have an engineer here, gentlemen that are deciding to decide on they have an engineer on staff or whatever,
That, I only know that they went and surveyed the building. I don't know who did that. I was not present.
JTR surveyed the building.
Yes, they did.
This is what they decided would work.
Yes.
The owner of the company is the one who surveyed the building, went through there a couple of times. I also had the same concern Mr. Bailey had, but we came to the conclusion, we don't think that building will ever have an ensign system or a large cooking heating area. A basic stove would be probably it, and regular wood. And he said that there would be no problem with that, because that was a question brought up.
If we vote for using this system, I would call in years past before we had this building, there was the older building, the fire department used to have fish fries in it. So with this building, and I know this is getting a little off afield from this, but with this system in there, would they be able to hold fish fries?
No.
They would not.
Well, fish fries, Trustee Horne, in the past, in that little thing we call the building, and someday I'm gonna bring out all the pictures to the people in the public don't remember it. It had so many holes in it, it was well ventilated. Fish fries, well, the grease all over that ceiling, the drop ceilings. We're trying not to turn it into a commercial restaurant. And even when the last time the fire department did a fish fry, they did it outside the building because they understood what comes out, what goes up. So hence Sly's had answer, if you're going to do that, you have to put an SL system in. That's probably about $20,000 or so, just for the hood to take that out. Then you have to have air replacement for the air and you pull it out. So I think as far as the village is concerned, do we want to turn it into a commercial? I don't think so. because the cost factor is just really gonna get high. That's my opinion. I mean, I've seen the fire department the last time they cooked outside.
So would it be advisable then to follow Mr. Wall's suggestion that we approve the amendment to be approved so that it's contingent on some additional review by Mr. Bailey and JTR and yourself? That way if there's some additional concern, it can be brought to light then, yes or no, by the administrator of this position.
I believe at the finance meeting, we had talked about there was, I believe, 4 or 5 other companies that would bid on this. And you would give us the price between over $30,000 to $17,000. Is that correct?
Yes, but those were actually some different types of systems as well. So, but yes, there was a wide range of
But I'm
expenses.
just trying to, so the public knows that this is just not the only company that bidded, and this is just not because it's JTR that we're going this way. There was at least 3 or 4 bids.
In response, Mr. Mayor and Board of Trustees, I'm happy to do whatever I'm directed to do at this level. If there's a conditional acceptance, you know, certainly to take up the offer that Mr. Bailey has put forth to be sure that we're headed in the right direction. I don't see that being a problem if those are your wishes. So
Here's what my recommendation would be. I would think it's a good idea that JTR, the owner, Mr. Bailey, be so kind to do so. You could be a part of that meeting. And if there is a problem with this, we're gonna find out if JTR is gonna rectify it within the same numbers which he's quoted us. I think that's the way I would look at it, but we can go forward with it at this particular time.
So do we need to amend the motion with that contingency, sir?
I would think so.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Stockton?
Yes.
Farquhar?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Horne?
Yes.
Franzer? Yes. Pop.
Yes. Motion carries.
thank you, sir. Next on the agenda is item number 6, which is a request for some additional funding for the Safe Routes to School project. Just to, if the board will recall, the Safe Routes to School project is along Will Center Road there to Monee Elementary, basically from Lilac, that runs down to Monee Elementary. And some of the additional funding has to do with the following. As we enter the Phase 3 construction period, approximately $2,000 additional dollars in funding for Strand Engineering for Phase 2 redesign plans. The reason that they had to do some redesign was based upon a comment letter received from the Army Corps of Engineers, because part of this project does encroach upon wetlands, which is under the jurisdiction of the Army Corps. Second item is $12,000 additional for construction oversight by Strand Engineering. This places an engineer on site to oversee the construction for a total of 240 hours, which is up from the allocated 116 hours. That is basically half-time engineering. I know it's a sidewalk, but the village has, even prior to my arrival here, the village has gone through a long and arduous task to receive this funding, and to not see it through to a full capacity, especially during the construction portion, I think would be a short-sightedness on our part. And item number 3 has to do with the mitigation of the wetland there, called wetland banking, in the amount of $13,200. That is where the village pays for the wetland banking, the encroachment upon the wetland due to this project. I would like to add that regarding that $13,200, I have sent a letter, which you have attached, that I have attached here, rather, I sent a letter to IDOT requesting reimbursement of those mitigation funds. So hopefully we will see something through on that end.
That's in the form of a motion.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Yes, sir. Just a question, Mr. Wallace, I don't know if you can answer it. If you have any idea, I understand this is one of the project companies, this been happening, it's been held up for years. When would you anticipate, do you have any idea when you might start?
Spring.
Spring.
It
will be this coming spring.
It's slated for spring, and their spring construction is usually starts, usually they use May 1 as a target date. It could start sooner, obviously that's weather dependent, but it is slated for phase 3 construction in the spring.
The reason I asked that question is I'm 2 years old since the last time we discussed this.
Duly noted, sir.
Roll call, please.
Barcott,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Horne,
Yes.
Franzer, yes, Pop,
Yes.
Stockton.
Motion carries. Okay, we're gonna take a little break here. I think we have the football team, and I'll just hold off on my sheet. First of all, I want to congratulate you, gentlemen. And as you get older, white hairs like me, you are now in history. I don't think this ever happened before. Proud of you. I went to that last game. It was cold. You did a great job. That's why we recognize you. Not only winning's important, losing is important, but it's a great savior moment because you're young yet. Enjoy it. Trustee Stockton.
Tonight we've got a resolution to honor you guys. At this time we'll have the attorney read it, we'll approve it, and everybody, all the players have a copy for themselves, for the whole team.
Thank you, Trustee Stockton. This is a resolution congratulating the Monee High School State Championship football team. Whereas the Village of Monee and our neighboring communities are fortunate in having excellent grammar, high school staff and facilities. And whereas that through the efforts and guidance of our parents, teachers, coaches, and administrative staff, our children have groomed to be outstanding students, leaders, and athletes. And whereas the Monee High School football team has, for the last several years, set a high standard of achievement for all of our youth to emulate. And whereas through its hard work, discipline, and dedication, the football team has been recognized as a top-flight program. And whereas in the summer of 2012, Coach Jerry Verdi and his staff started the process of molding young men into a preseason #1 contender for the Southland Conference Championship. Whereas to the efforts of everyone associated with this group of young men, Monee was crowned as champion for their conference, regional, and sectional play. And whereas to further validate the success of this team, the Monee Warriors gained a hard-fought victory over Cary Grove High School on November 24, 2012 by the score of 33-26, thereby becoming the IHSA Class 6 state champions. And whereas the Warrior coaching staff, players, and trainers have made the residents of the Village of Monee extremely proud of the team's success, not only as athletes, but also as students. Now therefore be resolved that Mayor Daniel Toval and the Board of Trustees of the Village of Monee, Will County, Illinois, hereby recognize the outstanding accomplishments of the 2012 Monee football team and wish everyone associated with the team and Monee School District 201U continued success in all their future endeavors. Therefore, be it resolved that this resolution be in full force and effect upon its adoption. This day, today?
12.
December 12th, 2012.
That's a formal motion, sir.
So moved.
Second's our resolution, right?
Yeah, resolution.
One resolution number on that.
Resolution number 2012-8. I need a second. Second.
Roll call, please.
Gray.
Yes.
Horne.
Yes.
Franzer. Yes. Pop.
Yes.
Stockton.
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Congratulations once again. Superintendent Rogers, you have anything you'd like to add to this?
I would just like to say, this has been one of the most exciting times in our district's history. We have received so much support from all the communities, and so I just want to thank all of the trustees, the mayor, all of the village administrators for all that you've done, for the outreach, for the parents. It's just been, we've been on cloud nine, and we want to continue to make you proud, not only on the field, but in the classroom, most of all. These have been really great young men. They're not just players, but we've gotten so many compliments about the quality of character. They've been humble, they've been reflective, intelligent. They have really done a nice job on and off the field, so we're very proud of them.
Thank you, sir.
I think they said it on the field.
Look at your coaches, I bet they have more gray hair now than they did in the beginning of the season. Good job, coaches.
Nice job, guys.
That's it.
Don't be handed that to you, I'll tell you that. Good job. Thanks for coming. Thank you, guys.
Okay, we're going to move on. On the mayor's agenda, I'm looking for a motion to cancel the December 26, 2012 village board meeting due to the Christmas holiday. Move. Second that. Roll call, please.
Horne.
Yes.
Franzer. Yes. Pop. Stockton. Farquhar. Gray.
Motion carries. I was handed a note before the meeting. I want to let the public know, if you've noticed, I think you've noticed, we had street sweepers going through town. And the head of our DPW, Mr. Dave Casal, handed me a note, so the public knows they picked up 77,080 pounds off our roads, which anybody would know that could grind your roads up. So, we're growing. We're growing in the right direction now. Thank you, sir. Good work. That's all I have. Anything for the engineer's report?
Nothing at this time, sir.
Thank you. Attorney, you got a lot of things in front of you.
Thank you, Mayor. 6 items for board's consideration. The first item is an ordinance abating the 2012 taxes on the general obligation bond series 2005. Because there was enough money generated from the TIF districts we are allowed to abate the payment due on the 2005 taxes. This ordinance, if approved by the board, will then be filed with the county clerk.
Ordinance number, please.
1624.
That's in the form of a motion.
So moved.
Any discussion?
I know there's a group of these here, is it possible that we can just have a,
Separate ordinance number each one.
I know, no, I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about general explanations, so the public understands a little bit more than what was, maybe the administrator, chair, shed more light on that.
Yes, sir. Basically, for the audience's knowledge, we issued bonds, meaning the village, in 2005, 2000, 2010. And part of the bond issue, because we're a smaller village, a lot of the bond issuers will ask that the village put their general obligation behind the bonds. That is for the purpose of extra collateral. If there's enough money met on the debt service that satisfies the bond ordinance, you are allowed to abate the GO obligation. So therefore, what that means, it will not go on your tax bill. The village has enough money generated from each TIF district. We're very careful about that. The money from the TIF district then pays the debt service on bonds. There's no further need to have any of the residents pay the debt service. As we do each and every year, there's a general calculation done by our auditor, confirmed by the administrator. Thereafter, the ordinance is prepared and will be filed to county.
Roll call, please.
Cranzer? Yes. Pop?
Yes.
Stockton?
Yes.
Farquhar?
Yes.
Gray? Horne?
Thank you, Mayor. The next item is an ordinance abating the 2012 taxes on the general obligation bond series 2009. It's the same scenario. The difference here is the 2009 bond issue.
Ordinance number 1625. It's in the form of a motion.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Pop?
Yes.
Stockton?
Yes.
Farquhar?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Horne?
Yes.
Cranzer? Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item is the same type of situation. It's an ordinance abating the 2012 taxes on general obligation bond series 2010.
Ordinance 1626. Form of a motion.
Make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Stockton?
Yes.
Farquhar?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Horne?
Yes.
Cranzer? Yes. Pop?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item is an ordinance levying taxes for 2012. There's no need for a public hearing since we're not going to 105%. This ordinance has to be approved, this ordinance is up for the board's consideration. If approved, thereafter it's filed with the county clerk on the last Tuesday in December.
Ordinance number 1627, correct? Form of a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, sir.
I believe that we also discussed it at the finance meeting the other night, and as the committee had come up along with all the other members, I believe that there was a raise of $57,000 that we're looking for, Mr. Horne.
That is correct.
And the committee and the other people that of the board that was there had discussed pertaining to passing the levy with no increase at all.
Yes, sir.
In addition, I would like to make known that where those increases came from, just a matter of discussion and information for the public. Basically, there is an increase in, most of these increases, or actually all of them that you see here that I recite to you, are hard costs that have gone up, not necessarily additional spending on behalf of the village. In audit fund, there was an increase of $6,000. In Social Security, there's an increase of $10,000. IMRF, which is the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund, that's the employer portion that we pay, is an increase of $15,000. Workers' compensation, liability insurance, those are two. Together, those have gone up $17,000. And the police pension fund is an additional $9,000, which will give us a total of $57,000. I think it's important to point out that, again, those are hard costs, not necessarily decision-making costs that the village has here. And if there is a motion to pass anything other than the ordinance that has been submitted, I would ask that that be amended first for passage, as this is the last board meeting that we will have to pass and file this levy with the clerk's office. Also before us, we have Dave Shutter from Ledke and Company here to answer any questions that the trustees may have.
I'd like to add to that. The other day, we had a finance meeting here, and I think all of us that participated agreed to try to tighten up our belts rather than put any tax levy upon anybody. It's $50-some thousand that would be added on to the community, individual homes. I think personally, I think we've had this conversation, we should be able to make it work. We just have to tighten up our belts a little bit more. Is that what you're looking at there, Trustee Stockton?
Yes.
Okay, so would you want to withdraw that motion and motion to amend?
I'll make a motion to amend it minus the $57,000 to make it everything equal.
I'm looking for a second.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, sir.
So where do we cut the 57?
Well, we're just gonna have to do it day by day. I don't think there's anything just particularly cut. You're looking at last year's budget sheet anyway. Mr. Wallace will have to really make the magic.
So I just need clarification. So the papers we have here, they need to be amended, showing exactly where that 57 is coming from before it can be truly approved?
No, Mr. Shutter, correct me if I'm wrong, the only amendment needing to take place is that the total dollar amount that you wish to increase it by 1%, 4%, 5%, or keep it flat. If you amend that and then vote on it, that is the direction we will take. We'll change the ordinance to reflect the wishes of the board. And also, I would like to note that last year, the village did hold the line on the tax levy. We actually levied for $2,000 less last year than the year prior to that. So this will be the second year that that the village will have held the tax levy to a flat increase.
So can you please clarify for me Mr. Stockton's motion? Somebody.
I made a motion to keep the levy flat.
Thank you.
Instead of increasing it by $57,000 as we discussed the other day.
Need a motion to amend. Is that correct, Council?
Yeah, may I ask one question? The 57,000, when you say keep it flat, you're taking 57,000 off this list that was given to the board?
Well, the list was given to the board the other day,
Okay.
or the paperwork was given to the board the other day, and there was a $57,000 increase.
It's $57,000 off of the ordinance amount that's in there.
No.
And really, if we just say that you want to hold the levy flat, then we will make those, we understand what wants to be done, there's no increase, and that'll be amended. Mr. Shutter, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could do it one of two ways. You could simply take it all out of corporate, or you could take it out of certain line items, but you'll get to the same result. You know, if you took it out of certain line items, you'll probably have to do transfers from corporate anyway, so. It's kind of.
So we're good with the way we laid this out right now?
Yeah, I guess it sounds like we have some discretion on where to take those amounts. But in total, 57,000 will come off the levy.
Yeah, actually, I believe the board is interested in holding the tax rate, the tax levy flat. And the intent was to take all of that amount out of corporate.
Good?
Yeah, it's good.
Have a seat, sir. Do we have a second? Let's have roll call, please.
Farquhar?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Horne?
Yes.
Franzer? Yes. Pop?
Yes.
Stockton?
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item will be number 6. It's a resolution allowing the use of MFT funds to purchase road salt. We have to have a resolution of this nature in order to use the MFT funds. So the board deems appropriate as a motion for the using those funds.
Resolution number,
2012-9.
that's in form of a motion.
I would make that motion.
We have a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Gray.
I'm sorry, discussion?
Sure.
Since our superintendent's here, maybe I can ask, how much do we have on hand? I thought we kind of accumulated surplus in the last year. Just informational.
We have some surplus on hand, but for what we're allocated for in this bid process, we will go through that to get the cheapest rate and submit a bid for what we're using in the future for this calendar year, not knowing how long it's going
Sure.
to play. And that's what this is going to.
So we do have some on hand from last year, but not enough
Stock
to carry us
loaded,
through.
ready to go, sir.
But not enough to carry us through the whole season. Thank you.
I think what we're trying to do, trustee Farquhar, at the end of the season, have the same kind of stock that we have right now. Just replace the usage at the end of the season, we should have quite a bit back there.
Forgive me for having to ask this, does the chemicals and all that, does it go bad over time if it's left set in elements and all? Okay. Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Gray.
Yes.
Horne.
Yes.
Franzer. Yes. Pop.
Yes.
Stockton.
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right. Everybody's done, we get to our committees. Finance, trustee Stockton.
No report, I basically discussed what we had on our agenda the other night, so no report.
Thank you, sir. Police with trustee Horne.
No report tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Public property with trustee Gregg.
No report tonight.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Farquhar. I'm sorry, that was public health and public property. My bad. Thank you, sir. Trustee Pop, Road and Bridge.
I just wanted to quickly mention that maybe I won't be talking about I-50 so much anymore. It looks like we're down to the nitty-gritty with it. It's just a couple of very inconsequential punch list items to complete. And I think it looks great and it's very workable. I also wanted to mention that about the salt, where our superintendent, Dave Griselle here, has gone over all the routes with the employees, where they will be plowing when it's necessary. And I know that we did our crack sealing and sidewalk repairs as we were able to afford to do them. I really feel very good about being part of this organization because I love the word "we're in the black." We have a very cheap mayor here, and to respect it, he refuses to go into debt, and that's a good thing. He tightens the belt. I'm proud to be part of this. All that being said, end of report.
Thank you, sir. Water with trustee Franzen.
I have one item this evening. I'm looking for an approval of a quote from Gaskill and Walton for materials to upgrade the chlorine room at well number 3. And I will refer to Administrator Wallace to further explain this. But I can say that this is something that we absolutely have to do.
Mr. Mayor, if I might, I had conversations with trustee Kranzer regarding the situation and Superintendent Purcell. And basically, this stems from a Illinois EPA citing that we were found deficient in our chlorine room in one of our well houses. And it's a little bit of proprietary work in order to bring that up to standard with the installation of exhaust fans and the proper heater, as well as electrical piping and so forth for explosion proof. So therefore, that's why we have this in front of us, and this will bring us into compliance with our EPA inspection.
That's in form of a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Horne.
Yes.
Franzer. Yes. Pop.
Yes.
Stockton.
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes. Motion carries.
That's actually all I have this evening.
Thank you, ma'am. Next is economic development. I have no report at this time. Unfinished business. New business.
I have one item for new business.
Yes, ma'am.
In looking at saving some $57,000, and I know it won't be much, but, perhaps now that our agendas and our packets are on the, website, we can stop printing them. And if the trustees would like a copy themselves, they can print them at home. Or bring their laptop if there's wireless available, but I just thought I'd throw that out there this evening.
I thought I was cheap.
Well, hey, you know, we gotta cut somewhere, so why not start with paper?
I appreciate that.
So I would just like to bring that up and perhaps discuss that in the very near future.
Okay.
Can we have some discussion on it, Mayor?
Oh, you could. There's no motion.
No, I understand. I think it's a good point. I know that there's other municipalities that have, an app for that, so to speak, you know, to point for, but it's something that's very doable, and other municipalities are doing that, where, trustees are either bringing an iPad or a laptop or whatever else, they can easily, it actually makes it easier to maintain and keep organized for everyone.
And I'm not recommending that the village go out and spend money on computers or iPads for the trustees, sorry.
No, I understand that.
We don't have Wi-Fi, so that would be.
It's easy.
Okay, before I get rhythmia here.
It's all right, I'm done, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have something there
On what?
for new business.
Okay.
Can you, well, maybe it's under economic development, can you comment on the article in the paper that talked about culverts?
Yes, that's pretty much all of it at this time.
Do you have a timeline or anything for that?
States it in there in the spring.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Update on the creamery. Mr. Halston still here?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Olson had a conflict and asked if this could be pushed to the next agenda in January.
Very good, we'll do that.
Thank you.
Open to public, non-agenda items. Please limit your comment to 3 minutes. Give your name and your address. We appreciate it.
Sid Dressback, 25654 Firestone. Could you give us an update on the electrical aggregation for Monee, please?
I'll defer that to Mr. Wallace, he's going to handle most of it.
I certainly can. The reason that there has been a delay is First Energy Corporation had some internal issues that provided or prevented them developing the aggregation letter that has to go out, that has to meet certain criteria. We're over that hump now. I have recently approved that letter. It was sent to us via the Will County Governmental League, and that has gone back. Right now, we are getting a refreshed list from Commonwealth Edison that has to be sent to First Energy, and then those people included on that list will receive the letters in the mail. I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb and suspect that we should start to see those letters arrive in Monee right around the first of the year.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace.
You bet.
Anybody else?
Anthony Scott, 26423 South Winfield Road. I have 3 questions. Can somebody explain to me, with the inventory of salt that we currently have, what's the benefit in keeping an inventory of salt? Because what does salt cost us that we're carrying an inventory? Because we probably came up with some value, so why do it?
There's only a certain opportunity to get it at a certain rate. I believe we get it through Will County, or did we get through Morton's last year?
Last year was Morton's. This year, if you note the resolution price on there of $18,536.40, that is significantly less, probably in the $10,000 range less than last year, because we were able to get on the state bid and that came out a much better pricing effect. That amount, we don't have to spend all of that, we're just authorized to spend that. It is the 120% of our expected use. You either have to purchase a minimum of 80% or you can purchase a maximum of 126%. We budgeted, or this resolution budgets for that 120%, but we don't have to spend that, and it's all weather dependent. If we get hit hard with icing conditions, then our supply goes much quicker than if it doesn't. We usually end up, salt in the past has been a volatile commodity, and we usually end up, or try to end the season with something in the building to start off the next season. At times, there even has been a salt shortage. So we try and prepare for the best. Seeing House, we do have the facility to house it. That's all that facility can be used for. That's why we try and house some.
All right. I wasn't sure if any of that could have been used toward the 57,000, which brings me to my second question. Is there any way that with the 57,000, which seems like a small number relative to the size of our overall spending, that could be made up in the delay of hiring or replacement of individuals throughout the year so that that cost is covered, or is that not allowed? You follow what I'm saying? Because you do it at corporate America all the time, you just delay stuff.
I will say that at this point, the municipality has no intent, there's nothing on the radar for hiring. We maximize the use of our dollars through the hiring of seasonal help as well as professional part-time help. Example, currently we have a professional carpenter that is on staff 2 days a week at a significantly reduced rate than the norm, and that is in fact a significant dollar savings for us. Being an employee, it keeps us out of the Prevailing Wage Act type thing and things of that nature. So we do continue to look forward to the use of part-time individuals, and of course that at any time can be capped dependent upon the number of dollars available for those expenditures.
Okay. Given the fact we've got a very low-cost government going on, I'm talking about U.S. government, and they're forecasting we're going to be at zero or near zero for at least through 2015. Could be longer, but at least through 2015. Are there any capital projects that we should be looking into in a low-cost environment to start working on while we could take advantage of that low-cost financing?
You're
Probably come up with a list.
Yes.
Rather than waiting until, obviously, when, what happens, obviously, even in the stock market.
Right.
People buy when the market goes up instead of buying when it's low and making money.
Yes, sir.
So doing it the opposite.
Up to this point, we have already exercised and enjoyed some of those low-cost environment, if you will, through the reconstruction of Briar Lane, Elder Lane, and 3 separate water main projects. We received great benefits on those projects for a couple of reasons. Number one, the environment, but number two, the companies that bid on those were already in town for other reasons. So we saved significantly on mobilization costs and things of that nature. Additionally, as we move into the new year, I suspect that our plan is to have, for example, the Water Committee establish a 5-year plan to incorporate a new water tower. And obviously, that is something that we can't afford overnight, but we have to work toward that because there are, not only is the environment good as far as labor and even material in some cases, but there are low-interest loans available through the Environmental Protection Agency that we could participate and take advantage of. So we do have some things that are on the radar that we're looking to incorporate in a long-term plan. I would say a 3-year and a 5-year plan as we move forward.
Are you looking to accelerate anything, or just this is on the radar screen? Because again, I'm just saying, because we're in such a good environment from a borrowing standpoint, even though you might not like debt, sometimes debt may not be bad.
Well, and that is true, and we have talked with our accountants regarding that, and we've talked internally. I know I've spoken with the mayor and on several occasions, and trustee Pop, because it had to do with roads, but we have a subdivision that is substandard in roads, and really, the only way that we're going to be able to tackle that, if we decide to do that, is on a borrow. There's just no way we could have that funding on hand. But the payoff to that, having those good roads, good drainage, plowability, things of that nature, least of which we should consider the quality of life issues that it's tough to put a quantitative dollar amount on. Those are things that we are looking at, and I know that the history of the community, at least since my short tenure here, is reluctant to borrowing, but I don't believe that any trustee or the mayor has ever turned a blind eye to it. If it makes sense and is good for the community overall, it's on the table for consideration. And those are just a few of the items that are considering at this point.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Good evening, my name's Diane Reyes, 4731 Iris Lane. Administrator Wallace, this is to you. You mentioned about the safe route to school starting at Lilac. Should be at Iris Lane.
And I believe it is. I misspoke. Thank you for
I had a
correcting me,
feeling you
though.
did, but I just wanted, I thought, let me get up here and ask you.
Yes, no, I
Okay.
appreciate that, thank you.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna close this portion of the meeting. We have to go to executive session, and I believe it's under collective bargaining, 2C2. No reason we need to be, I'm sorry. I want to cover that also. Bear with me 1 second. We're also going to go in under police and real estate, section 2C5, and personnel, section 2C1. And I believe that covers it all. You're welcome to stay around if you want, but there's no reason we can be. That's a motion on the floor to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Franzer?
Yes.
Pop?
Yes.
Patrick? Barker?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes, thank you.